We could do 1,000,001 things right in a day, and we can do one thing wrong, and we'll focus on that one thing. And that's all we'll focus on. We're like, oh, my day was shit because this happened, because this one thing happened. Yeah, but what about these other 25 things that were really, really good? By far, the most important conversation that you can have is the conversation that you have with yourself every single day. Right, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about that little voice that lives inside your head that 9 times out of 10 doesn't really tell you anything good. All right, now before we dive into that, make sure that if you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you go away and click that little subscribe button. Give us a little thumbs up to like this video, and make sure you leave a comment. That just helps the algorithm to let other people know this is a valuable video and that they are going to get something from it. So if you're watching this and you find any value from it at all, then take 2 seconds to go and do those things. All right, so moving on. Did you know that there's apparently 30% of people in the world don't have any inner dialogue in their head at all? Now, what that means is that there's 70% of the people in the world, which is a lot of people, that do have inner dialogue. And I just so happen to be one of those people, all right? Now, out of those people that do have that inner dialogue, 75% of the chatter that goes on in your head is negative shit. It's shit that drags you down, that tells you you're not good enough, that tells you that you're never going to make it, that you're a waste of space. It never ever tells you anything good. Right? Now ask the question, why does this always happen to me? Right? That voice, like if you listen to Joe Rogan, he calls it his inner bitch. All right, that little voice is a little inner bitch, man. It's never got anything good to say, and it generally doesn't move you forward in life. All right, so today on this video, we're going to talk about a few things that you can do to start kicking that little voice to the side and start regaining control of your mind. Now, here's the thing. When I say you're going to kick it to the side, don't get me wrong when I say this. It doesn't mean that it's never going to come back. It doesn't mean that you're going to go through this, you're going to do these things that I speak about in this video, and you're never ever going to have that negative voice coming up again. That's kind of impossible, because it's always going to be there. You're always going to have that little voice, all right? However, there are things that you can do to start quieting that voice down. And then when it does pop up, you're going to pay less and less and less attention to it. All right, there's a wee fable or a story or a parable, or I don't even know what it's called, man. I'll call it a story. And I'm going to butcher it because I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's about an Indian chief and his son. And the Indian chief is telling the story to his son about 2 wolves that live inside the wee boy's head. And these 2 wolves have a fight, and one of the wolves is going to win, one of the wolves is going to lose. And one's a good wolf and one's a bad wolf. One's got all the negative things in the world. One's a good wolf that's got all the good things in the world. And the wee boy asks his dad, which wolf wins? And the dad replies and says, whichever one you feed. All right, so like I say, the wolf is never ever going to not be there. That negative wolf, that negative voice is never going to not be there. But the less you feed it, the less you give it your attention, the less of a hold it's going to have on you, right? And we're going to talk about a few things today in this video that are going to help you to start silencing that little inner voice and start moving towards something a little bit more positive and actually having a mindset that works for you as opposed to a mindset that works against you every day, all right? So, all right. So without further ado, let's just get cracked on. I've got 6 things that I'm going to cover, right? I've got wee notes because I tend to go off in tangents. So, right, the first thing you're going to do, right, you're going to start stacking wins every single day, all right? So this is a massive thing. So when I work with any of my fat loss clients, one of the big things that I get them to really focus on is what, you know, let's look at what wins you've got in the day. Because here's the thing with humans, right? We could do 1,000,001 things right in a day, and we can do one thing wrong, and we'll focus on that one thing. And that's all we'll focus on. We're like, oh, my day was shit because this happened, because this one thing happened. Yeah, but what about these other 25 things that were really, really good? Why are we not focusing on them? All right, and that's just how our mind works. We're always drawn to that negative, all right? If you look at a group, if you go into a group of people and you've got a bunch of people standing in a corner that are bitching and moaning and they're gossiping about other people, we tend to be drawn towards it, like, oh, tell me more. All right, the news is negative and we're drawn to it. We're normally drawn to TV shows that have got lots of drama and crazy things going on. All right, it's just how our brains work. But if we can start to kind of switch things around and start looking for wins in our day and start stacking up little small wins, and it could be really small insignificant things, and we start stacking them up regularly, we start to give ourselves a more winning mindset. And the more you look for wins, the more things you then start to grasp onto. You've got what's called your reticular activating system, or your reticular brain, and that's where you start looking for certain patterns. All right, so it's like when people say, an example I always kind of use, if you go and buy a red sports car, and you think you're the only person that's got a red sports car. Like, oh, it's one of a kind. It's I've never seen these before. And as soon as you drive out of the showroom, everybody else has got a red sports car. Right? That's not magic. That's just your brain hasn't been looking for that particular car up until that point. Now that you've got the car, your brain's looking for more of the same thing. So you're then drawn towards it, right? Your brain is then drawn towards that thing. This is no different, all right? If you are always focused on negative and always focused on negative news and you're always focused on all the shit things that happen in your life, you're going to just look for more shit things. It's not that you're inviting them into your life. Well, you kind of are inviting them into your life, but it's not by some magic occurrence that they start to happen more and more. It's just that you're looking for them more and more. And then when you start to find more negative shit, you've then got a confirmation bias. Right? Whereas if we can switch that around and start focusing on some good things, like let's look at those little wins that we've got in the day, the more you do that and the more you start celebrating the small things, the more you start to look for more and more wins and you start to develop a winning mindset. All right? So like getting this started really early by doing something like making your bed. When you get up in the morning and make your bed, it sounds really insignificant, but like if you make your bed, and when you go to your bed at night, you've got a really nice, well-made bed to jump into instead of a bed that's all over the place with covers all up and down the shop. All right, so make your bed first thing in the morning. Maybe get yourself up and go for a walk in the sunshine. If you've got time before work, go for a walk in the sunshine. If you've not got time for work, then get the kids ready for school, make them a nutritious lunch, get them off to school in time. Notch that off as a win. I've got the kids to school in time. And if you're a parent, man, you know how difficult that can be, especially with small kids, right? They've always got something they just need to do before they leave the house. So if you can get them to school in time, man, that's a massive win, especially if you can do it without a tantrum happening, all right? So getting the kids to school, get them there on time. Then once you've got them to school, go out for a walk before you go to your work. If you've not got time before your work, then as soon as lunchtime hits, go out for a walk at your lunchtime. Right, notch that off as a win. Cook up a nice healthy meal for the family at dinner time. Have family dinner around the table instead of everybody plugged into their iPads or sitting watching the television. Right, and I've got to admit, man, I'm guilty of that. I like to sit and watch a bit of TV when I have my dinner. But sometimes we'll sit around the table, all right? And it's awesome because we can sit and chat and we can blather, and my daughter will talk about all kinds of random stuff that makes no sense to me, but I get involved in it anyway because it's good fun, all right? And then from there, just spending quality time with the family. Turn the telly off and play a board game. We actually do this fairly regularly. We'll get out the Game of Life or we'll get out Monopoly and we'll sit and play, obviously, Junior Monopoly. My wee girl's still quite young, so we'll play Junior Monopoly, which very quickly turns from a game of Monopoly into chasing Nemo around the living room with the characters, right? Because she gets bored of the Monopoly game and wants to play with the characters. But it's good because it fuels her imagination. So we notch that all off as little wins. Those are good things that have happened. It doesn't matter if bad things happen. I'm not going to focus on them. I acknowledge that they're maybe happening, like maybe some crap goes on or something that happens that I've got no control over, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to give it my energy. I'm going to give this my energy and I'm going to focus on these wee small wins. And the more I do that, the more I start to look for that in my life. All right? Okay, so the second part of this, the second thing you can start to do is, there's two different ways I'm going to phrase this. Do hard things or finish the things you start. All right. So many times we start something and it gets difficult. We put it to the side and we're like, I'll get back to that later. And we're all guilty of it, man. We're all guilty of it. Or if there is something that's really difficult even done, we just shy away and we don't do it. We put it off and we put it off and we put it off. We say we're going to do it, but then we never do. Right. And it's really, really important that if you say you're going to do something or if you start a task, you should really finish that thing or follow through and do the thing you say you're going to do. So if you've been saying for weeks that you're going to go to the gym, then go to the gym. Like stop telling yourself you're going to do it and telling other people that you're going to do it and then not doing it. Every time you do that, you actually erode your own confidence and you stop believing in yourself as much. Excuse me, because you're telling yourself you're going to go and do this thing and then every time it comes around, you don't do it. So the more and more you do that, you then just end up being in a state where you're like, I'm just probably not going to do that at all. Follow through and do the thing. All right, so it could be getting a workout in, like I say, go to the gym and get a nice heavy workout in. It could be, sign up for a marathon, sign up and go. Like that's pretty damn extreme, man. But if you sign up for it, you're much more likely to then follow through and do the training and actually complete the race. And but take it from me, I've not run a marathon. I've run a half marathon. It was hard, really hard. Right, the next step for me is to go and run a marathon. And if you've been watching my videos lately on this channel, I've been documenting my running journey. Right, I want to go and run a marathon, not because I'm a great lover of running. But because it's hard, man, it challenges me. It's really difficult. I find going to the gym easy. I don't find working out easy. I find that quite difficult because I push myself hard. But the act of going to the gym, the act of going to jiu-jitsu or going to a karate class or an MMA class, I don't have any resistance to that because I really enjoy it. All right, of course, it's difficult at the time. And when I'm doing jiu-jitsu and somebody's grinding my face into the mat and putting me in uncomfortable positions, it's horrible and I want to get out of there. But I've conditioned myself to accept that that's the position I'm in. I need to now work out of that. But I'm still comfortable in that whole environment. Running, I don't enjoy. I really don't enjoy it. I went for an 8K run today, the day of filming this video, and there was so much resistance around doing it. But I went and got it done because it's a thing that really challenges me. So I don't want to run a marathon because I love running. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get my runner's high. I've not had a runner's high yet, just being brutally honest with you. All right, I've had a runner's, oh my God, why am I doing this? But I've never had a runner's high as such. All right, so do something that is going to really, really challenge you and really, really push you. All right, when you do those hard things, it starts to build your confidence up because you realise you can actually do more than you think you can do. All right, it might be going for a job promotion at work. Like you've maybe looked at a job promotion that's came up 2 or 3 times, and you've always went, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'm not going to do it. Well, how do you know if you don't go and try? Like, put yourself out there and go and try. What's the worst that happens? You don't get the job and you stay in the job you're in. All right, but if you don't put yourself out there, you'll never ever know. Right, if you do go for that job promotion and it turns out that you need to have a certain skill set to make it happen, then put yourself out there again and go and develop the skill set. Take a course. All right, maybe nothing to do with it, or maybe you've got a fear of public speaking. Well, that's me. But right now I'm looking into Toastmasters so I can go and maybe overcome this fear. I don't want to do public speaking. It's okay doing it here on a camera. I'm really comfortable doing that. But standing in a room full of people and giving a presentation or talking to them about something, my palms get sweaty, my legs get shaky, my pants get all wet because my bum cheeks are sweating. Right? I don't love the idea. My stomach turns upside down, I stutter, my mouth goes dry. So I'm not comfortable in that setting. So go and take a course and learn how to do it. All right, but put yourself out there and do some difficult things. And then again, you can stack that as a win because you've challenged yourself. And then when you follow through and do the thing you say you're going to do, you start to build your confidence. You start to kind of build that inner belief in yourself, which then is going to help to silence that kind of inner chat that tells you you're not good enough to do things. All right. And the third thing here is to kind of be self-aware. All right. So you have to be self-aware. So many people just drift through life. They just wake up in the morning, they go through the motions, they do what they need to do, they go to their work, they come home, they sit down, they turn on the telly, interact with the kids for a wee bit, have some dinner, get the kids to bed, go to the bed themselves, rinse and repeat the next day. All right, and it's just this clockwork thing that every single day, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. And it's easy to fall into those patterns. And routine is a good thing. It is a good thing to have routine. But at the same time, you have to have awareness around the things that you're doing. Right? So bring awareness around the thoughts that you're having every day. Bring awareness around the foods that you're eating every day. All right? If you're just mindlessly stuffing your face constantly all the time, well, it's lunchtime, I better go and eat. So you grab a whole pile of crap food, or maybe when you're sitting down to watch a film at night time, you're grabbing a whole pile of crap food to just sit and mindlessly stuff your face. I mean, how easy is it when you sit down? I don't know about you, man, but things like crisps and jelly sweets, I can take or leave, don't mind. But if you put a bag of minstrels on my lap, all right, when I'm watching a film on the telly, I'll eat that whole bag. It doesn't matter how big it is. I'll just sit here like that. I'll just eat the whole bag. And there's no thought goes into it whatsoever. It's mindless. I've got no thought at all about it. And then before I know it, I've eaten the bag. And I go, oh, shit. Or when you're driving on a long journey and you buy yourself a packet, I was going to call them Opal Fruits, but I think they're called Starburst now. Right? When you get yourself a bag of Starburst or a bag of Haribo's or a bag of whatever you buy, you sit them on your car door and then you say, do you know what, man, they'll last me the journey there and back. No, they don't. They don't even last you half the journey there because you just sit and mindlessly stuff your face. You drive along, you listen to your music, you grab another handful of sweets, you mindlessly just go through that motion because we don't have any self-awareness of what we're doing. Right? So start bringing some self-awareness into what you're doing like all the time. Like, how are you thinking? How are you acting? Like, what kind of things are you doing every day? Like, I get my clients sometimes to write down a journal of what they're doing every day. Like, write down what you're eating every day. Write down what your kind of movement patterns are like. Write down what you're doing, when you first wake up. Let's get some awareness around what your daily habits and behaviours are. Because once you're aware of what they are, then you can change them. If you don't have any awareness around it, you can't ever change it. All right, and this goes with your emotions, the things that you're thinking every day. If you're not keeping a check on that, then it's so easy for those things to just run wild. All right, and then this is one of the biggest things that I should have maybe actually put this as number one, because once you start to become aware of that voice in your head, like I went through a long period of my life with zero awareness around this, like none whatsoever. I had no awareness around the thoughts that were going on in my head at all. All right, and I actually watched the DVD of The Secret. Like, there's a book called The Secret that talks about kind of manifesting and changing your inner dialogue and all that kind of stuff. I watched the DVD of that, and it wasn't until I watched that, and it kind of highlighted that people have these inner thoughts, and they go, why does this happen to me? Why can't I get a break? Why does nothing good ever happen? It wasn't until I watched that I realised, holy crap, that's how I think. But I thought I was the only person that had thoughts like that, but I wasn't. While I was aware of them, I wasn't aware of them. They were just there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas once I watched that, I then started to have awareness around it. I was like, oh, hang on, if I'm thinking like that, maybe I can change the way I think, and I can think in a different way. And I started to then systematically, like whenever I felt those negative thoughts coming in, saying, stop, I'm not listening to that, I'm going to go the other way. And it had an opposite effect on me, if I'm being honest. I then went toxically positive. Like everything had to be positive and rosy and light. There was no negativity allowed, which is impossible. There's always going to be bad things happen or negative things happen. It's how you respond to them that kind of define what the overall outcome is going to be, all right? But having that awareness around about how you're thinking, how you're behaving, how you're acting, what your emotions are in any moment, that is key. Because once you have that awareness, like I said earlier, then you can actually go and start to change things. Whereas if you're just drifting every day with zero awareness, you're just going on autopilot. You're just doing the same things over and over and over again. And the reality is that you're never ever going to get anywhere doing that. All right. And what ends up happening is you end up just being stuck complaining about your life, or complaining about circumstance, or complaining about this happening to you or that happening to you. Nothing ever changes. All right. So you need to bring that self-awareness in, which then is going to allow you to start, changing those kind of negative thoughts and maybe having more positive affirmations. Positive affirmations sometimes get a bad rap. And I think that's because a lot of the positive affirmations that people do are ridiculous. They're stupid. Like, I worked with a coach a while back who was like, you need to start believing you're a millionaire. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Like, tell yourself you're a millionaire. Wake up in the morning, I am a millionaire. I'm sorry, man, but the way my brain works is that's me just telling myself a lie, because I'm not a millionaire. I'm really not. I'm not a millionaire. Do you know what I mean? And to tell myself that every day is just nonsense. Like, it's absolute nonsense. It's not. I don't feel that's beneficial in any way, shape, or form. It's just not realistic. All right, but if I can tell myself that I am good enough, yeah, I am good enough. I absolutely am. There, in no way, shape, or form am I not good enough. Like, and regardless of what the circumstance is, I am good enough. Like, I can go and train and be on my karate team, and I'm good enough to do that. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm not good enough to go on that team. Whereas now, I'm like, no, I absolutely am good enough. If I put the work in and work hard, then I am absolutely good enough. All right, so make some positive affirmations for your life that you can maybe say to yourself on a daily basis. That if you start feeling these negative thoughts coming in, saying, I'm no good. Well, no, wait, actually, no. Do you know what? I am really good, man. My family all love me. I've got a really good job. This, that. Look at some positive things that are happening, and then make some affirmations around them. All right, make some realistic, positive affirmations that are actually going to, first and foremost, keep you grounded. Because, like, I'm a millionaire. I'm an astronaut, and I can walk on the moon. Cool, man. Fair enough. Like, are you an astronaut? Can you walk on the moon? Well, there's a lot of training. I'm not saying you can't do that, but you're not right now. All right. So keep those affirmations realistic, but make sure they're things that uplift you. Make sure they're things that lift you up. And by the way, I'm not saying you can't be an astronaut. If you want to be an astronaut, man, you fill your boots. You go and work with the space agencies, and you be an astronaut. If you want to be that, there's nothing that's stopping you. Right. But right now, to say that I'm an astronaut and I walk on the moon is not realistic. Because it's not true. You're not doing it. All right. Maybe a silly example, but you get my point, man. You get my point. All right. So, and that leads us straight into number 5, man, which is you need to change your story. All right. And I'm going to use fat loss as an example for this, because I work directly with people and I help them lose weight and I help them to lose some fat. So many times people come to me, and one of the biggest things they'll say is, as an example, I'm a fat, lazy bastard. And they'll tell themselves this on repeat. Right? It doesn't matter, how many times we try and kind of turn that around and try and give them something different to say. They'll revert back to that story. Or I'm big boned. They'll say, I'm big boned. I've always been fat. I'm big boned. It's my genetics. Right? This is things that they'll cling on to. This is a reason or a story that they cling on to for the reason they're overweight. Now, here's the thing with that. The longer you tell yourself that story, the longer you start to believe it. All right, you've heard it before that a liar tells themselves lies, or tells lies so much that they eventually start to believe the lie is true. And at some point, they can't then differentiate between what actually is a lie and what's the truth. All right. So if you're telling yourself this same story over and over and over again, it doesn't matter if it's with fat loss, with making money, with being a better dad, with being fitter, with going out to run marathons. It doesn't matter what it is. If you've got a certain story that you're telling yourself, and this goes back to the awareness point, you need to be aware of what that story is. If you've got something that you're telling yourself that doesn't empower you, but you're holding on to that story, then you're going to then take action along the lines, or not along the lines, sorry, you're going to then take action that leads you towards the outcome of your story. So if we go back to the dietary one, I'm a lazy fat bastard, for example, if you've got that belief in your head that you're a lazy fat bastard, You're going to get so far down the line when it comes to losing weight, going to the gym, working out, going for runs, keeping your diet in check. You're going to get so far down the line, you're going to lose a bunch of weight, you're going to feel brilliant, you're going, oh man, I'm doing really good, I'm doing really good. But then all of a sudden in your head, you've got this story. You've got this conflict of interests, all right? It's like cognitive dissonance. So on one hand, you're, oh, I'm doing so well, I'm doing brilliant, my coach tells me I'm doing amazing, I feel really good, this is awesome, I'm loving this. But I'm a fat, lazy bastard. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm going to binge. I'm going to go and stuff my face full of crap food. Self-sabotage kicks in. You go and stuff your face, you eat loads of shit food, you put your weight back on, and this is why so many people regain weight after a period of time of weight loss. They then regain all that weight, they're back to here, I'm a lazy fat bastard. I've been truthful to myself, I'm a lazy fat bastard. We need to change that story. We need to change that narrative. So whatever that, and going back to the awareness piece, you need to be aware of what the story is you're telling yourself. Be aware of the story, start bringing in some positive affirmations to change the story around, and then start making a new story. All right, but again, you need to keep this realistic. There's no point in you saying, right now, if you are 20 stone overweight, there's no point in you saying I'm an Olympic marathon runner. Because let's be honest, right now you're not. It's okay to have that as a goal. Why not, man? Like, again, going back to the astronaut thing, there's nothing you can't do. All right, obviously, if you're 95 years old watching this, and then you're thinking Olympic, maybe that dream's a wee bit past. But there's still things you can do. I'm not saying you could go and run a marathon. You don't have to be an Olympic marathon, but you can go and run a marathon. However, keep the goal or keep the story within the realms of possibility. Okay, so I'm maybe not an Olympic marathon runner. I would like to be an Olympic marathon runner, or I would like to be an ultra marathon runner, like whatever it may be. What steps do I need to take? Well, I want to be a person that runs 5K. I'm the kind of guy that runs 3 times a week so that I can go and run a 5K race. That's much more realistic and much more achievable in the short term. And then those actions are going to then take you towards that longer term goal. All right, so we need to change that inner dialogue. We need to change that story to start matching towards a story or something that you actually want to achieve in your life. All right. And then last but not least, right, and this is a big one, and this, especially as men, this is really, really difficult. All right, if you've got this overly negative mindset, if you're constantly beating yourself down, you're constantly telling yourself you're no good, you're sitting in a pit of depression, you're never ever getting where you want to get in life, then something needs to change. But maybe you've gone through all this kind of stuff and you're still like, oh, I can't make any progress. Go and get some help. All right, there's nothing wrong with it, man. Go and this could be working with a coach. You could go and get a therapist. There's actually a great website. I used this a while ago, and I probably will use it again, to be honest. It's called Better. I think it's either Better Help or Better Health. I'm not sure which. All right, I'm not going to put a link to it. I'm not an affiliate for them. None of that stuff. I can't remember which one it is. It's Better Help or Better Health. I think it's Better Help. I think. And you go on there and you tell them what you need, and they assign you a therapist, and you can then work with this therapist and tell them the things that you need to tell them. All right, now there's a massive stigma around doing this as a man. We need to break that down, man. We need to break that barrier down, because getting the shit that's going on in your head out of your head is so massively beneficial. So massively beneficial, right? And I use this analogy all the time, man. If you, like my dad, he's not keeping in the best of health now, so he doesn't tend to his garden as he used to. But a few years back, when he was in better health, he had a lovely back garden. It wasn't grass and all that. It wasn't any of that. It was all slabbed, but he had loads of plant pots everywhere with loads of different coloured flowers, and it was beautiful. There was bees in the garden, there was birds in the garden, and it was beautiful. Loads and loads of different colours. All right, it was really, really nice. If my dad didn't tend to that garden every day like he did, he was out there every day, and he was tending to it. And if my dogs came in and got in his wee flower beds, he used to go wild. All right, but if he didn't tend to that every day, weeds would appear. All right, because weeds are resilient, man. Flowers are delicate. Flowers are really delicate. They grow, they look beautiful, but they develop and they fall apart. And if the setting's not just quite right, then they wilt even faster. Weeds don't give a shit, man. Weeds just grow. They grow and they grow and they grow. They're so resilient. Weeds are really hard. We need to be more like weeds and not so much like flowers, all right? Everybody wants to be this perfect, pretty flower. Yeah, do you know what, man? That's cool, man, but let's check out the weeds. Those things just grow under any circumstance. They don't care, all right? They grow through pavements. They grow out walls. They are super hard, man. They are tough. But if my dad didn't tend to those weeds, if he didn't tend to them and pull them out of his garden, it wouldn't be long before the weeds would strangle the flowers and his garden would die. Right now, in those plant pots, and they're plant pots, man. They're not in the ground, they're plant pots. There are weeds in the plant pots. There's no flowers anymore because he's not in good health to keep them. All right, my mum doesn't really care. She's not that fussed on it. She doesn't really care. But there are weeds in the plant pots. There are no more flowers. All right, so your thoughts are the same, man. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in your head and getting that shit out of your head, it's not long before those weeds, before those negative thoughts start to kind of take over everything that's going on, and then before you know it, that's all you've got. All right, so going and seeking some professional help, going and speaking to somebody, hiring a coach to help you, whatever it may be. If you want to make more money, go and speak to a financial coach that can help you make more money. If you want to get better at speaking on stage, go and speak to a public speaking coach that can help you get better at speaking on stage, or check out Toastmasters and go and do what they're doing. If you want to have a better relationship, go and speak to a relationship coach to help you get out your own way to have a better relationship so you can be a better father, a better husband. All right. If it's just to help you lose some weight, go and speak to a fat loss coach. Speak to me. If I can help you, I will. If I can't help you, then cool. I'll move you towards somebody else that can. All right. If it's going to see a therapist because you're sitting in a pit of depression, go and speak to a therapist. Right. Speak to who you need to speak to help you get out of your own bloody way to go and start achieving the things you want to achieve in your life. All right. Because trust me, from a person that has been there, sitting on your arse, doing bugger all and drifting through life with no awareness and just allowing those thoughts to completely invade your day, man, you are just going to end up stuck in a place that you feel shit, that you hate yourself, you hate everything around you, you complain about everything around you, you look at everything as everybody else's fault, and why can you not get a break? Because, man, you've had it so tough for such a long time, you deserve a break. The only way you're going to get that break, my friend, is by taking action that you need to take to make that break happen. It's not going to happen for you. Nobody's coming to save you. It's not going to happen by magic. It's not going to happen just because you want it to happen. You need to take action. All right, so go through these things. So I'll run through them quickly one more time. So number one, stack wins every day. Wake up in the morning and start stacking wins as early as you can, making your bed, going for a walk, eating healthy food, getting your kids to school on time, whatever it is, start stacking those wins. Number two, do hard things or finish the things that you start and make sure you finish them. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Go for a run. Go and get a hard workout in the gym. Go and join a jiu-jitsu class, all right, and put yourself under pressure. There's nothing more humbling in life than going to a jiu-jitsu class as a man, as a fully grown man, and getting ragdolled by a 16-year-old boy who's a purple belt. Good God. All right, getting put in the most uncomfortable positions of your life and wanting to tap for dear life because it feels horrific. But then working your way through that and getting out and realising that you didn't die. All of a sudden, you've got this newfound kind of belief in yourself that you can deal with uncomfortable situations. All right, so go and do hard things. Become self-aware. Have awareness around about your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your behaviours, the things you do every single day. Have some awareness. Without awareness, you cannot change it. All right, number four, start telling yourself some realistic but uplifting positive affirmations. You are good enough. You can achieve great things. You are worthy. Like whatever it may be. All right, I am amazing. I am a kind person. I deserve amazing things in my life. Like these are all good things that are true. They are absolutely true. All right, start working with those as your kind of guiding light. Change the story in your head. You're not a lazy fat bastard. You're not a waste of space. You're not a miserable, depressed, sad sack of a human being. You're not any of those things. Right? You're an amazing person, and I'm the kind of guy that runs a 5K every day. I'm the kind of guy that goes for a walk every single day. I'm the kind of guy that spends quality time with my family instead of panning them off to a tablet. All right, if those are the things you want to start changing your story to work towards those things. All right, but again, keep it realistic. Have a long-term crazy goal to work to, of course, but in the shorter term, keep it realistic so you can start taking steps towards that goal. And then finally, if you are struggling and you are really, really stuck with all this, make sure you reach out and get some help. Go and speak to somebody that can help you get from where you are to where you want to be, or at least a little bit closer to that point. All right. So that is it for this episode. I hope that all made sense. Like I said at the very start of this video, if you've not already subscribed and you got any value from this, then just take the 2 seconds, man. Take 2 seconds. Click subscribe so you can get notified when new videos come up on this channel. I promise, I've said this before, man, but I promise they will be more frequent. I'm going back to what I said about doing the hard things and finishing what you start. I've been so inconsistent with this channel of late, and I do apologise. I've had a lot going on with myself that I've been trying to kind of work out, and I'm now in a position where I'm going to start to make this a more regular thing. I promise. And I'll have more updates on that as we go along as to kind of what it's going to look like. But yeah, so go and make sure you subscribe so you can get notified when more of these videos videos come out. Hit that little thumbs up button and make sure you drop me a little comment so that the algorithm can then push this video to more people that might also find it valuable. But that's us for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.